So typically on German cars like this X3 right here and this E46, you have issues where coolant actually leaks down, and over time, it leaks down, you don't notice it, then your car overheats. Or you constantly have that pesky light on the dash telling you you need to fill your coolant back up. That's where a kit like this comes in really handy, because it has all the fittings for if you're working on other makes or models and things like that. And it has a pump so that you can test the pressure. And it also has a filler. This is a cheaper kit I found on Amazon. And it's really helpful for things like this, where you have this kind of spray going, but there's no real pattern for where it's leaking from. So all that takes is taking off your coolant cap, whether it's a radiator cap, or in this case, it's an expansion valve cap. Going through the multitude of caps here, finding the one that fits, which this one does, screws on nicely. What you want to do is make sure that that's nice and snug, just so that you don't have any air leaks. In this case, this one has a little wrench that you can tighten it down with, but you don't have to have one of those. You can just tighten it by hand. You want to grab your pump here. You want to take it and you want to attach it right to the top of that fitting there. So from here, it's really simple. You want to sit there and pump and pump and pump until you create enough pressure in here. Now this one has such a bad leak that it will not register because it's leaking right out, but you'll watch this gauge go up here, and you really want to stay in the green. You don't want to get into the yellow, and the red is just extremely dangerous. You'll blow something out that isn't leaking, but now it is. So in this case, with the pump not really being able to put any pressure down to the system without it leaking, you do want to pump just a little bit and listen for where it actually comes out. And as you can hear from there was just a little bit of air leaking out, and it's actually coming from this upper hose right here. In my rush to get this car together, I replaced this hose right here, and I clicked on this singular connector here, but I didn't notice that this one wasn't clicked all the way on. What I had done was bought an aftermarket hose, and it was not up to par and was not able to click in. So typically that's the easiest way that you can find a leak on one of these. You can see that really only took me about 30 seconds there to set up that system there so that I could find the leak. And you really don't have to stay specific to German cars or European cars in general. You can do it on Chevrolets, you can do it on Hondas, you can do it on Toyotas, you can do it on Volvos. Just last night, whenever I first got the tool, I was real excited. I found that leak on that one real quick, but I also tested out a Tahoe and was able to find a leak that I hadn't been able to find in years. So really, a tool like that was probably about $60 saved me a lot of money in the long run and having to pay for expensive diag or anything like that.